What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are checking out another viewer's car. This is Lucas, his 2011 Alfa Romeo MiTo Quadrifoglio Verde, QV for short. It is the hottest MiTo they ever made, and well, we're going to talk a bit about the fact that that is the case. I'm going to show you around it. I'll show you the beautiful spec of this MiTo, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. Now, big thanks to Lucas for submitting his little Alfa for a review. He's been watching our videos for 12 years, so really happy about that. Thank you so much, Lucas, for supporting us and also for bringing along your car. If you have a car that you want to submit, send us an email or a DM on Instagram, and we'll have a look at it, and your car might be next. So let's take a look at this very handsome little car. It is a little hatchback that I feel didn't really receive the love that it should have had when it came out, because it was sort of perceived as a hot hatch that had to compete with a Renault Clio RS or with a Peugeot 208 GTI or a Mini Cooper S or stuff like that. But I don't feel like that is the case. I feel like this is more of a gentleman's hot hatch. It's just a fast MiTo. It's not like shouty. It doesn't have a lot of spoilers and a lot of stickers and a lot of like other childish stuff. No, this is for a sophisticated Italian gentleman who wants to move through Rome or Milan at speed and wants to look good doing so. So I think that's the way you should approach this car, just as a fast MiTo and not particularly as a hot hatch. So that's what we're going to do. I'll show you this gorgeous spec, because this is tornado blue, super cool color. It has a bit of purple in there. It just works beautifully on this MiTo with the chrome Alfa grille, the proper Alfa grille, and you get these QV specific surrounds for the headlights in that sort of matte gray. You have that on the mirrors as well, and you get these dark gray wheels on the QV as well, which is nice. And you can see the little red brake caliper behind that, which is also specific to the QV. So you get a few little touches, this badge of course being the most obvious one, but the things I just mentioned, that's it basically. So it might not be the most outgoing and extrovert hot hatch, but you know, if you know the telltale signs, they're there. So this is a 215 tire at the front on an 18-inch wheel, Pirelli P0s. You also get adaptive, electronically controlled adaptive dampers on the MiTo with the DNA system, which is kind of cool on this little hatchback. I don't think there were a lot of hot hatches in this class that offered that. Oh my god, it is so hot out today. It is ridiculous. Oh. Anyway, I don't think there were a lot that offered that, and the car got a little facelift, a little update in 2011, the end of 2011 I think, and they even improved the system. So the rear suspension actually stiffens up when you hit the throttle, so you have less weight like moving around, less weight transfer basically. 215s at the rear as well. You get the little gray surround for the rear light as well. Beautiful rear lights, almost like 8C design, wouldn't you say? I think it's a very handsome car. Always found this to be a handsome car, but in this QV spec, very nice. Dual exhaust here. Could have done something with that. Would have been cool. You have basically a different exhaust for the QV, but you have the regular silencer, which is a shame. Now, they also had an Alfa MiTo GTA that was planned. They even showed it, I think, on the Geneva Motor Show, but they cancelled it because of the economic crisis, the global economic crisis. So the car never made it, which is a shame. Would have been really cool. I saw some pictures with a central exit exhaust, a little wide body. Yeah, it should have been like 1750cc engine, 1.8 liter, with 230 or 240 horsepower. That would have been really cool. So little boot, super impractical. Look at that. It's just so high, this. Why is it so high? I feel like this is like you throw stuff in, down in here, which is weird. You even have some more storage down there. It's a little car. It's not very big, but it's not bad. Is that open? I think so. Ooh, that's hot. There we go. So what we've got is the 1.4 liter multi-air turbocharged engine with 170 horsepower and 250 newton meters of torque in overboost. You only have that if you have dynamic mode engaged. 0 to 100, 7.5 seconds according to Alfa, but no one is able to do that. It's something I read everywhere in every review. They say like, well, I've not been able to do it below 8 seconds. I think we did 8.2 or 8.3. You're not getting close to the 7.5 probably. You also can't turn off traction control, so it does give you a bit more room. Neighbor. It does give you a bit more room to play with in dynamic mode, but you can turn off traction control. We also have a K&N air filter here, or air intake, for a bit more sound. And oh, let's get it. Oh, oh. So let's get in and I'll show you the interior and get the AC going, thankfully. So start her up. Oh. So interior, this is something that they complained about, that the QV wasn't different enough compared to the regular MiTos. Well, it's not. It does have this like weird carbon foil on the dash as well, which does look different, I think, than a regular MiTo. And this car has the leather interior with beautiful cognac or tan seats, lovely leather, beautiful design. Support is not great though. Yeah, there's hardly any side support. You had the option available to go for some sabled seats, which cost like 2,500 euros, but they are like proper bucket seats. So yeah, those are very, very cool. This is the optional leather, which is also very nice. I love the color. I love the combo of the blue and the cognac. Little steering wheel here as well. I mean, beautiful analog dials there, and a little infotainment system that, yeah, you're not going to use basically. But I quite like the interior. It's pretty spacious for such a small car. And as you can see, Lucas also uses it to transport his kid. Yeah, it's a nice car. I like it. I think it's grossly misunderstood, and people really didn't do it any favors by reviewing it as though it is like a really hot hatch. It's not. You shouldn't look at it that way. But let's go for a drive and see what it's like. So we've got a 6-speed manual gearbox here, which is great. There was a facelift in 2013 or 14 when they introduced the TCT automatic with a dual clutch, 6-speed as well, but I really think that this is the better gearbox. If you just want to have a little fun in a little car, I think a manual is always better. We've got the DNA switch down here, so dynamic, normal, and what is that, all weather. Normal is just horrible. The throttle is like too insensitive, and it's just not very nice. Oh, it's actually really bad. So don't use that. Just go to dynamic mode. Immediately picks up as well. And as I said, you have these adaptive dampers, so they also tighten up, and it's actually a pretty big difference. Now the car only weighs 1150 kilos, which is great because it means that you can throw it around, and it never really, it does feel very light. It's just in cornering and stuff, it feels light, and when you brake, you notice that there's not a lot of mass to slow down. But when you want to go fast, it kind of feels a bit heavy. It's 170 horsepower. It could use a little bit more. Now Lucas was thinking about doing a tune on it, and that should yield him around 200 horsepower and 300 newton meters of torque. I think that will dramatically improve the car, but because it needs just a little bit more, just a little bit of extra oomph to make it feel a bit more exciting and just a bit more hot hatchy basically. So little launch. We don't have an ESC or traction control button, so it's just a matter of launching it, and it will allow some wheel spin in dynamic mode. It's, yeah, as I said, it's impossible to get close to that 7.5 seconds apparently, because we weren't able to do it, but I saw a lot of people weren't able to do it. But who cares? I quite like it to do a B-road like this. It just feels like you should drive it at like 80 or 85% max. I think then it's actually not bad. Because it has a really good suspension setup. The steering feels nice, the power steering, even though in dynamic mode it is a little bit too heavy, it still feels, you know, quite natural, especially around the center. It's very good, it's nice and heavy, a little bit too heavy in dynamic mode, but still it does provide some feel, which is great. Boom, little wheel spin there. Oh, and then it does feel a little bit slow. It should have a little bit more. I mean, yeah, it's just shy of having enough power. But I like it. I like the difference between the normal and the dynamic mode, because when you do like that in normal mode, you can feel the car moving around a lot, side to side, and then you put it in dynamic and it definitely feels a lot tighter. So we're going to hit the Autobahn as well. 216 kilometers an hour top speed, according to Alfa. So let's find out. We also have a Q2 differential at the front, so that is basically an electronic limited slip. Well, it simulates a limited slip, so it's probably just braking the inner wheel. But yeah, it does put the power down relatively well. It's not that much power, of course, to begin with, but nonetheless, it's not bad. So you can see we have a turbo pressure gauge in the center there, and after like 5,500 RPM it starts dropping off. So you're probably better off shifting like around 6,000 RPM. So here we go. Let's see if we have a little bit of space. On the Autobahn as well. I mean, this is dynamic mode. The suspension feels really good. The car feels stable. It doesn't feel as small as it actually is, which is nice. What is that? That's like just over 200 kilometers an hour on the speedo. So 6th gear. I think he wants to go, but no, he's braking. Okay, thank you. So honestly, I mean, we used to own a Fiat 500. This feels a bit more grown up than that, and I have to say it feels a bit more grown up than most cars in this segment. And I quite like that. I like that it feels different than the others. As I said, it's not as shouty and as like in your face. Of course, it also doesn't handle like a Clio RS or a Peugeot 208 GTI. It's also a lot slower, but I still do think that there's room for this car. There's a space for this car for people who want something a bit more inconspicuous, you know, a bit more stylish maybe. That's 210 on the speedo. Don't think it will go much quicker. We're going to turn around here. Those bumps, I've actually handled them really well. I like it. It's a cool little car. I read a lot of reviews that were pretty negative about it, but I don't think it deserves that. I really don't. I mean, look at that. That's not bad. It just kind of sticks. There's still some movement in the chassis, which is nice. It just means that you can set the car and then kind of lean on it. It's not as rock hard as some others. Oh my god, it does have a weird... The throttle is too long, I think, or I don't know, the start of the throttle is super insensitive. Caught me off guard. So that's it for this review. Lovely MiTo QV. Thank you so much, Lucas, for taking it to us. We've really enjoyed driving it, and yeah, I like it. I like the spec, I like the setup, I like the idea, and I think it's a cool little car. So big thanks to you as well for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video or this playlist. See you the next one. Bye.